mean, I've been writing books since I was 7. My very, very first novel, actually it started as a comic, and I drew a comic book. And so after a few abortive attempts to draw the comic, I thought, well, if I write it, first of all, I can write it and then I can draw the pictures. And that was the beginning for me. It started as a way to not draw the pictures, and that's literally what I've been doing ever since. I've written 7 books, and I also spend a great deal of my time writing for television. And the fact is that different media and different genre require different approaches and different disciplines. A script can tell you only what a character does and what a character says, and you've got access to the workings of their head via those 2 criteria only. So you have only that to tell a story. Whereas, for instance, writing a memoir, which I published a couple of years ago, is an entirely different process to that, because you have absolute access to the workings of your own head. And you've also got that same benefit when you write fiction. If a little bit of motivation is unclear in a novel, you've got absolute license to burrow into a character's head and tell people what he's thinking. I want people who read my books to be excited by them. I want them to remember them. I want them to be, ultimately, to be entertained by them. I mean, what inspires me to write, what moves me to write, largely, is terror. Most of my novels, to some degree, are about ordinary people going through the worst experiences of their life. Natural History is a novel about good and evil. It's the story of Patrick. Patrick sees his role in life as to always be the sidekick, and in many ways he's the less dominant half of a marriage. His wife is very dynamic, very forward-looking, very ambitious, very driven, and Patrick is none of these things. But his primary characteristic, I think, is one of the ability to love. I think my primary and overriding interest as a novelist and as a human being is how the most transcendent aspect of our humanity, which is our ability to love, expressed as selflessness, can lead also to the most abhorrent acts of our humanity. That somehow both the best and the worst of us is tied up in our ability to love one another. Many things scare me, but the fear which has haunted me since childhood and will not leave me be is the simple fear of the dark. I'm a creature of the Enlightenment. I believe in a mechanistic universe. I believe in cause and effect. Until you put me alone in a room with the light out. And as soon as I'm alone in the dark without the lights on, I'm no longer a rational creature. The next novel of mine is called Burial. And Burial has its idea, again, rooted in that 3 a.m. anxiety of that almost universal human feeling of waking up after a party and drinking too much and knowing that you've done something incredibly stupid and offensive or been a moron. But also the fact that most murders are committed while people are drunk. And I want to extrapolate from that shared feeling of waking up one morning and knowing that you've done something not just stupid and boorish, but utterly abhorrent and unforgivable. And how do you deal with that? It's very easy to become a murderer.